On today's ChurchTechCast.com Q&A show, locked plists, a complement, a third display, and fading video. Hi, and welcome again to another episode of the ChurchTechCast.com Q&A show. This is the show where every week I answer your church tech questions. My name is Paul Allen Clifford. I'm your host. I'd love for you to ask your questions, so just do that below the video. Now, if you're busy doing something else, you can't watch the video, but you're listening to the audio, perfectly acceptable. Every time I go out for a run, I'm listening to podcasts, so I get it. So if you're doing something else, there's no video for you to leave your comment under. No problem. When you get back to the computer, or just whip out your smartphone, the site is responsive, so it'll work. Go to trinitydigitalmedia.com/CTCQA for Church Tech Cast questions and answers. CTCQA, and just leave your comment under one of those shows. That's perfectly acceptable as well, and I really look forward to interacting with you. So, Udo Mahne, or Mahne, on YouTube, in response to an old video I did on iWeb, it was a tutorial probably 4 or 5 years old, says, my navbar override.plist is locked. Can't make any changes. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to see what the permissions are on that file and see if you have permission to edit it. I think, if memory serves, what I actually did was I created a new copy of that and changed the permissions in the copy. So that's something else for you to do. So you could do that as well. But keep in mind, iWeb is really old software, hasn't been updated by Apple in years, so I'm kind of going off memory here. So keep that in mind. Watch more videos, because I've got other stuff that might help you in other ways. Okay. ColeMizeStudios on YouTube, in response to one of my most popular videos, how much internet speed you need to do live streaming, says, very well explained, Paul. Thanks for sharing with us and wishing you the best in all you do. Smiley face. Thank you. Love the compliments. They keep me going when it gets hard, and it does sometimes, I'm not going to lie. But thanks. Scott sent me an email and said, we run ProPresenter 6 and are wanting to add a stage display monitor. We have a MacBook Pro Mid 2012 model with a mini display port. Actually, it's also a Thunderbolt port, but mini display port is one of the uses for it. We currently use an HDMI adapter and send that mini display port signal to the projector. Now, how should we get a second video output signal for the stage display? Great question. As it turns out, there is a USB adapter, and it works perfectly well on that vintage of MacBook Pros. In fact, if you are watching the video, you look behind me, over on the right side of the screen here, you'll see a display. That's actually a USB adapter run display. It's not quite as powerful as a regular display, like the one on my left, which is the mini display port adapted version. And in the middle, you just saw my backlight. Woo! In the middle is the MacBook Pro. So I have 3 running on a mid 2010 MacBook Pro. So it's perfectly possible to do. I say perfectly a lot, I've noticed. I got to work on that. Anyway, so I sent you the link. Basically, it's about $35, not expensive at all. And the one that I have works up to 1080p, and it has the ability to go either DVI, HDMI, or VGA. So that covers nearly everything except DisplayPort, which isn't very well used, and SDI. But you could get an adapter to go from HDMI to SDI, and then you'd be good on that end. So that's what I'd recommend. Very inexpensive, works great, and a lot of churches are using it just because it's fairly inexpensive. Okay, finally, Charleseke on ChurchM.ag, in response to an older article that I wrote, says, "We have a large sanctuary. Distance from the boot station and projector is between 80 to 100 meters, so about 300 feet. 333, give or take, or more. Currently, we are using SDI, though the projector has HDMI, VGA, DVI, and AVI ports with fading picture output. We have changed projector output, but the output virtually remains the same. What do I do to have better picture quality over that distance?" In addition, we equally need a console that can receive input from 5 or more cameras before distribution to a computer, projector, televisions, and other devices, and streaming. Okay, so basically you've got two questions. How can you get a better signal over SDI? Which, quite frankly, I'm a little confused that you're getting a fading signal. SDI is a digital signal, so maybe I'm misunderstanding what you mean, because normally with a digital signal it's either there or it's not there. And almost there can look just like just barely there. So with that in mind, I think what I would recommend is try an amplifier at the head end right by the computer. Right once you change it from HDMI to SDI, amplify that thing and see if you don't get a better signal on the other end. So that's the first thing. It could also be the projector itself. So it could be that, you're right, you change out the lamp, no difference, but a new projector, all of a sudden it looks great. So if by fading image you mean that it doesn't look as good, I'm leaning towards the projector. If you mean sometimes it cuts out, then you need an amplifier. Now, the other thing that you asked for, a console, I'm assuming you mean a video switcher. So when you get to 5 inputs and a projector, you tend to be getting a little bit past the consumer line of things. The ATEM Television Studio, which is an introductory switcher, I believe has 4 inputs, might be 6. I know that there are 4 SDI and 4 HDMI, but I think 2 of each of those crosses over. So you might be able to get by with it doing some adapting, but you're probably going to want something a little higher end, maybe something like a Ross, a Grass Valley, something like that. And that can get into some bucks. So consider if that's the way you want to go. It's not going to be $1,000. It's probably going to be multiple thousands. But just so you know, and you're probably not going to want to use just little camcorders for that. You're going to want a higher end system. Well, I hope that answered one of your questions, whether you were the one that asked the question or not. If not, don't forget to leave your question under the video or at trinitydigitalmedia.com/CTCQA and go from there. Also, don't forget to join my email newsletter, and that's located at trinitydigitalmedia.com/gifts. There you can pick out a church tech gift of your choosing and get a free subscription to my email newsletter. And don't forget about my brand new community over at ChurchTechEU.com. That's Church, CHURCH, Tech, TECH, U, just the letter U, override.plist.com, short for university. And there you can get all kinds of cool training. The things that I've been putting together over the years, I've put them all in one place, kind of in an all-you-can-eat, train on all the stuff you want sort of model. I've got ProPresenter training, I've got video training, video production training, training on Twitter, YouTube, church email newsletters, etc., etc. All my books are there with one exception, and as soon as I can get past that exception, that's going in there as well. And I'm going to start releasing these videos early, and they'll be in there. So that's something for you to consider. ChurchTechU.com. First month is free, so there's no risk. You can decide if it's right for you or not. And I hope that you'll join the community over there as we discuss all about using tech in your church. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford with TrinityDigitalMedia.com. Go out and change eternity.